I'll use you as an example. At the beginning of this podcast, you were fairly disrespectful in the beginning.
Damn.
But had you been a man, you would have probably got punched. But you're a woman. You were able to use that to your advantage and act in a disrespectful manner to a degree.
How was I disrespectful?
Hold on. Let me finish my point.
You definitely were.
You're being disrespectful, but it's fine because you were. Objectively speaking, you were. So, but what I'm saying is that, and I'm just using this as an example, the reason why you were able to do that is because you're a woman and you're not going to bear the same physical consequences as if you were a man. Very rarely do men meet each other that don't know each other and speak to each other in a kind of way, because there's always that potential for physical consequences. Okay, we call it, when it comes to, think of like nuclear weapons, mutually assured destruction. The reason why we don't shoot nukes at Russia or why they don't shoot nukes at us is because we're going to shoot them at each other and both kill each other. Men understand this silent agreement that you're going to respect me because there's physical consequence. Women, however, are allowed the privilege of acting ridiculous, being loud, being disrespectful, because quite frankly, y'all don't get punched in the face. That's the truth.
She was lucky that all she got was a stern talking to, because there are men that absolutely will not let any disrespect from a woman or anyone else slide. Men don't live in a world where they can get away with talking to anyone any type of way or acting crazy. If men talk to each other how some women talk to men, there would be endless fights in the street happening every minute of every day. I hope that she learned from that experience, because the next time she disrespects someone, she might not be so lucky to get off how she did here.
World War III is around the corner. There's no feminists when Russia invades. There's no feminists when China invades. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. Nobody wants to go to
but
war,
But what I'm saying is that all these things that you often complain about, like when shit hits the fan, we revert to our traditional gender roles. You can't have feminism when there's a military conflict.
He is absolutely right. There is no place for the nonsense that comes with the extreme feminists when it gets real and there's real problems with deadly consequences that need to be solved. The men do what the men do and the women do what the women do. There isn't time for all this men and women are the same and equal in every way nonsense. The truth of the matter is that there's things men can't do or aren't as good at as women, and there's things that women can't do or aren't as good at as men. It doesn't mean that either is superior to the other, it's just a simple fact of life, and there's nothing wrong with that. Where feminists go off the deep end and lose the support of rational people is when they try to say that women are oppressed because they aren't allowed to do or be as good as the men, and that's simply not true. Most women make less money, for example, because they choose jobs that typically pay less. It's not because no one wants to pay women equally.
I'm gonna kind of twist it, and I don't think that guys who are like, oh, I won't be with her because she's been with so many guys. Like, I think that from purely a sexual standpoint, it's like, okay, then you're probably just insecure. But overall, like, I can understand why a guy's like, I'd prefer a girl who's not just, who values this more than a girl who doesn't value the act of sex.
Why is a guy insecure for wanting a woman who's not promiscuous or who has a low body count?
Let me think about this because I'll be able to articulate it properly.
She didn't have an answer to that question because there isn't an answer that makes sense. She's obviously just using the insecurity thing as an excuse for why high-value men shouldn't care about a woman's body count. The sad reality is that she and women like her don't want to accept is that most very high-value men that have endless options don't want a woman like her.
What standards do Japanese women have that differ from Western women? Good question. Do you want to go ahead, John?
Japanese women are very feminine. They're very demure. They're very modest. They're not combative. They're not trashy. They're not outspoken and loud and obnoxious. They are very honorable women in the sense that they don't just do something and think like, oh, what is this effect going to have on me? They think, oh, what is this going to make my dad look like? What is this going to make my mom look like? What is this going to make my grandma look like? What's this going to make my uncle look like? So and that's a really good girl to have around, a woman that considers what her actions are going to affect not only her, but everybody around her.
What he said applies to women in non-Western countries as well. That's why so many men that actually want to get married prefer to go to other countries to find women. Women in Western society could learn so much from Japanese women, and they would find great men that will treat them like queens if they actually applied what they learned. Would you marry a Japanese woman? Let me know in the comments.
I dated a girl who dated me when I was a bum before I made my money, right? As I progressed, I made more money thanks to this girl's support, big time for sure. And at one birthday, she was like, you know, I want this $3,000 Hermes wallet. You don't have to get it for me. But she had held me down. Yeah. I was a loser in every sense of the word, and she held me down. And when that birthday came, I lied to her. I was like, no, baby, it's too expensive. I can't. But then I surprised her. In my mind, it was an automatic yes. So if a woman proves herself to me by being a good woman, being a faithful woman, not being a pain in my ass, I'll buy you anything. I'll move a mountain for you.
Props to that woman for being a real ride or die. Finding that nowadays is almost impossible. And to anyone that has someone in their life like that, this is your reminder to value them and show them how much you appreciate them. So many women want a made man when they meet him. It takes a special kind of woman to stick with a man that's still building his way up towards his success. Women like that deserve the world because, like he alluded to, men need a supportive woman that's going to push you towards your goals instead of stressing you out with nonsense. If you have a ride or die, then shout them out in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe.